Summertime in Minnesota. It's a season of new life on the Larson farm just north of Wilmer.
Century farm, and now we have the 6th generation. This is Henry Peter. His great-great-great-grandfather settled on this farm back in the 1860s, it would have been. Well, we had a few wood duck houses that we've kept on the ponds here. We had a storm come through that had blown one of them down, so we thought we better get to it and have it reset. And
duck opening, that used to be a holiday so far as I was concerned when I grew up.
About 18 months earlier, Kim and his family had submitted an application for permanent protection of their largest wetland.
The RIM-WRP Conservation Easement Partnership. How can we enhance this wetland, make it better long-term, which is an improvement for the water quality long beyond the time that we're farming this land. Dealing with water issues, you just better be on good terms with your neighbor because you have to work with him. He had to agree to be a part of this project. 88.3 total acres of wetland and outlying areas, nesting areas that would be tied in. It would require a dam structure to be placed in here. You can see everything is washed out. In the last year or two, it's just been totally unproductive. It hasn't been able to control the water out of this wetland. So the government can provide that funding that can make a very professional type of a control structure for that water at the precise level that it best needs to be to do the best filtration for that 3,500 acres of land that actually enters in through that watershed, as well as provide the best habitat for the waterfowl that are existing there. We were supposed to have known by now. Unfortunately, I can't tell you that I was accepted.
Fortunately, a few months later, the application was accepted. The local government agent is on the scene.
Private property, no trespassing, still stays on the tax rolls. RIM-WRP is a partnership between the state of Minnesota, Board of Water and Soil Resources, and the Federal Natural Resource Conservation Service to purchase conservation easements on private lands, primarily for wetland restorations and upland habitat, the prairie restorations that go along with that. They went out and got some soil borings here and here, primarily working with landowners that want to put something aside for the future generations. We'll recreate or put in a new water control structure that's going to basically maintain the elevations and water levels that you're seeing out here.
The line is just over the hill and then it cuts. Years ago we probably could have drained this out and it would have been some prime farmland, but we felt that this section or two of land was a primary conservation area for the farm. A lot of it did get drained 30, 40 years ago or more, and this is one that just did not. So we've always maintained it as its natural habitat. So here's where we're approaching the overlook of where we saw the nesting pair. Oh, okay.
A pair of trumpeter swans is raising its young on the Larson wetland.
There they are. Wow, fabulous.
Trumpeter swans are a threatened species in Minnesota, so a pair found nesting in farm country was great news to Carol Henderson, the man who literally brought back trumpeter swans to our state.
On cue. Cue the swans. They were subsistence hunted at the time of pioneer settlement. Trumpeter swan skins were sold in the fur trade, just like beaver skins. So by the 1880s, the trumpeters were virtually all gone from the state. Hennepin Parks, now Three Rivers Parks, started working with restoration in the late 1960s, and then we picked up in the early 1980s to start the statewide project for restoration. With those eggs in hand, flying them back from Alaska, we had a lot of hope. And now the fun part is that every year the swans keep popping up in new counties, new marshes, new places. Our early goal was 30 nesting pairs for the state, and now we're at 700, so I seem to have overshot my goal. It's just really exciting to see how well they're doing and that they're recovering, not just over a long term, but within my own lifetime I can see the payoff. It's really the Minnesota taxpayers that get all the credit for this, because when they make their little donation of a few dollars on a tax form, this is the kind of dividend that you get to enjoy. You got something very special here.
I thought it was kind of nice, so
Yeah.
maybe you got it.
This is fun. This is just great. Pretty happy. It's been about a 30-year process from the time we started putting the idea together until the point we could say we've done it. We've got the swans back. There's some things that you just have to be in it for the long haul to see the change. You know, like any of these landscape changes,
Right.
attitudes change slowly and programs change slowly, but you just have to be kind of a patient, stubborn or Scandinavian or something to see it through to the end. And you got a nice little selection of natives right in this little corner here.
Nice.
This is lead plant, native legume. This would be purple coneflower after blooming. And then there's some yarrow mixed in along here. Nice. Well, you got some quality species in there. You got a real success story here.
Yeah, and thanks to the government program, we'll be able to keep this from going dry.
They like
Yeah.
solitude.
Yeah,
Just incredible.
a great project.
Oh, there's a nice view right there. That's about as perfect as it gets.
The satisfaction that this piece of habitat made the difference for another generation of nesting swans. It's just a great thing.
It's one of those icon birds that's a very special part of our environment. If you just give them adequate protection, a clean environment free of contaminants, they're probably going to do just fine. People have made a difference in terms of preserving areas where, they still got their farmland, but they're taking a little out, setting it aside, and then reaping some wonderful dividends for themselves and their family in terms of the enjoyment they get in a countryside that has this natural diversity.
All right, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We enjoy it in our family, and we enjoy the opportunity to provide it as habitat, knowing that we're giving back. And I'd like to see many farmers take the opportunity to do so.